I'm here with Coach Carlos of One Nation Boxing Gym. And kind of my first question to you, Carlos, is how long have you been involved in boxing?
Oh, damn. Since I was about 13 years old, I would say that's when I walked into a boxing gym first. But before that, I was just one of them kids who kind of just liked boxing and just the fight game. I just liked it.
Addictive.
Yeah. At that time, I didn't see it as addiction. At that time, it was just something fun.
Yeah.
Something that I liked, something interested me. And then it becomes an addiction when you get yourself more and more involved, taking yourself to the gym, doing it, putting the hours in. That's when it actually becomes a part of you.
Perfect. So that dedication side of things, then it becomes an addiction.
Yeah.
Did you always want to become a boxing coach?
I never actually even thought about being a boxing coach.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a fighter, and I wanted to be a household name as a fighter. Yeah. And I actually really believed in my head to the point where I can remember as a kid having dreams of lifting a world title. So I never even thought about being a boxing coach. It's just I just wanted to be a boxer.
Yeah, and then so what changed? What was the moment where you realised that maybe that wasn't the right route to take, and then you became then boxing coaching? How did you fall into it?
I've never said it was never a right route, because it was, because that's what I wanted. It's when it became physically impossible for me to compete at the levels I wanted to due to injuries. Then that's when I thought, okay, I can't get to where I want to be. So seeing others get there from me adding onto their craft is probably the next best thing, or was the next best thing.
I was saying this to Clifton earlier, and Mikey and Natty as well. That it's an incredibly selfless thing, right? To be a boxing. Is that the key to being a boxing coach? Kind of, you're putting your time into them, so then what help them succeed? Is that the key to being a boxing coach, do you think?
The key to being a boxing coach to me, I would say, is teaching properly.
Yeah.
Teaching properly, that is the key to being a boxing coach. And selfless, yeah, it's a big part of that is that, because I'm actually just thinking about these guys when I'm in the gym. And what I'm doing for them is for their betterment. So it's for them to improve. And like I said, because I can't do it, I wasn't gonna say, okay, forget boxing, this is something that I love. So I was going to be in it.
How do you know, so you're on about the key to being a good boxer is teaching properly. How do you know that you've taught correctly?
When you see improvements, when you see someone, listen, I've seen kids and guys who've come in the gym and they can't even throw a punch. So when you see someone going from there to throwing a nice jab, then a nice backhand and a nice 1-2, you're onto something. Yeah, just simple things. Simple things. When you see them actually falling in what you've tried to demonstrate and teach, when you see them falling in, that's when you know, okay.
How do you feel when that happens?
How do I feel? I'm more happy actually for them. It's a weird one. It's not even for me. I'm not saying, I don't go, oh, I'm great. Because I'm still in this game to grow. So when that happens, I'm more happy for them, just to see them where they see the change in them, to see them become a better version of themselves.
Yeah, does it still? It's still a success for you though, right? As a coach, you've still put your work in. That's kind of like that's your labour of love right there. Like, you've seen that person improve. That's still a success for you, right?
Okay. If you put it like that, when they're lifting titles,
Okay.
nah, that's when I feel yes.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's when I think I get my extra excitement.
Yeah.
When they're lifting titles and their names is going up in the rankings. That's when I'm like,
Nice.
Indeed.
How important is trust between a fighter and a coach?
Oh, it's everything. It's trust and understanding is everything. It's because at the end of the okay, as a coach, you're not going to be jumping in there with them to fight, but you're the extra pair of eyes. So in that, you can guide them. You can guide them to their victories or to not be in danger. Like I said, as a coach, I'm not jumping in there with the boxers. A boxer performing will be trusting their coach to guide them when needed through the rounds. And I need to trust the boxer that they will listen to the instructions. So trust, I'll say, is a big part of the finish.
Because Mikey was talking about, if the trust is there, then hesitation comes, and when hesitation comes, that's when you get punched in the face. Is that?
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that. I like that actually. Well, yeah. Along the lines, that's pretty much it.
I watched the documentary, I think, that was released, the short documentary that came out, and you were on it, and you really interested me when you were talking about, and it goes back to your point about understanding the environment that you're in, and you put so much emphasis on that, and I think that's so important, no matter going outside of boxing, and we could relate to more things, but how important is environment when it comes to boxing, the environment that you're in, and the One Nation boxing environment, how important is that?
I just think to grow, you have to be in an environment that will understand you. And like, again, we're going back to understanding. So listen, how many people are in this world? How many billion people are in this world? And now, how many people have the same interests? Yeah. You need to be in an environment where you're willing to take in information, and you're not just letting your head just wander off.
Yeah, you have to be open to listening to the advice that you're getting, right?
Yeah.
And then also you spoke about in the documentary, there's nowhere else where you would like to be in terms of an environment. And how important is One Nation boxing to you?
It's very important to me actually, because it's the first boxing gym I actually ever really walked in.
Perfect.
Yeah. So with that, I just think that seed dropped in there and it just grew. So it's the place that showed me boxing, taught me boxing, and helped with me falling in love with boxing.
Perfect.
So yeah, One Nation.
What was that moment like when you first walked into a boxing gym, or this boxing gym?
In Normanton. How was it like? I'm trying to remember. I don't think I was phased, because I was just that kid. I just wanted to get involved. I remember the first time I went to the gym, you go through the paces, you go through the session. And the second time I was that excited, I didn't know much about using equipment, but I saw boxers with hand drops and stuff. So I went to a local chemist and I bought bandages. Two rolls. I wrapped my hands before gym and I ran to the gym. I jogged to the gym, and that was for my second session. So I wanted to be involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's.
Mate, I love that. That's so good. I got a couple more questions. So, what is the hardest thing about being a boxing coach?
Not everybody takes information in the same. And that's it.
Yeah.
I would say that.
Perfect.
That's probably the hardest thing.
Okay.
You have to understand people. You have to understand people. And you also have to understand people have their own way of doing things. But if it's not working, you have to swiftly adjust that.
What's it like working with Clifton?
Working in Clifton,
Yeah.
interesting, very interesting, because he's an interesting person himself. So working with Clifton is interesting, but it's great. I don't mind.
Perfect. And then my final question: what does One Nation Boxing mean to you?
Nation boxing, the roots, simple.
Perfect. Carlos, thank you very much, mate.
Cheers.